The Library of Alexandria, the greatest loss of knowledge in history. Imagine a place where the wisdom of the world was gathered, stored, and protected. A place where the greatest minds of antiquity came to share ideas, study the stars, and preserve the very essence of human thought. That place was the Library of Alexandria. And its tragic loss may be the greatest intellectual catastrophe in human history. Welcome to Cerebro Ethos. Today, we uncover the Library of Alexandria, the greatest loss of knowledge in history. Chapter 1, The Birth of a Dream. It all began with a dream, one as bold and vast as the world itself. In the early 3rd century BCE, a new beacon of learning rose in the Mediterranean city of Alexandria, founded by Alexander the Great and ruled by his successors, the Ptolemies. Ptolemy I, Alexander's former general, envisioned more than a political capital. He imagined a sanctuary of knowledge, a place where all the world's wisdom could live under one roof. And thus, the great Library of Alexandria was born. But this was no ordinary archive. This was a temple of learning, a sacred monument to human curiosity. Every ship that docked at Alexandria's harbor was searched. Any scroll on board was copied. The original kept in the library. The copy returned. The library's ambition was limitless, to collect everything ever written from every land in every language. Some say it held 400,000 scrolls. Others say 700,000. But these were not just scrolls of poetry or law. They were scrolls that mapped the stars, taught the human body, calculated distances to the sun, and pondered the meaning of life. Babylonian mathematics, Persian astronomy, Indian medicine, Hebrew texts, Greek philosophy. It was all there, meticulously translated and preserved by the library's elite scholars. The library became more than a building, it became a symbol. A symbol of what humanity could achieve when it cherished knowledge above conquest, learning above power. It became the first truly global institution of learning, centuries before such a concept existed. And at its heart was one dream: to understand the entire world by gathering its wisdom in one place. Chapter 2, Who Used the Library? So, who walked the sacred halls of the great Library of Alexandria? Not just anyone. This was no public library. It was an academic powerhouse, drawing the greatest minds from across the ancient world. Here you'd find mathematicians, astronomers, physicians, poets, historians, linguists, philosophers, all under one roof, exchanging ideas that would shape the course of civilization. It wasn't just a repository of knowledge, it was a living think tank. Some of the most brilliant names in history studied or worked here. Euclid, the father of geometry, wrote his Elements, a math textbook still referenced today. Eratosthenes, the librarian himself, calculated the circumference of the Earth with astonishing accuracy over 2,000 years ago. Hipparchus, the astronomer, mapped the stars and laid the groundwork for trigonometry. Galen, the physician, studied anatomy and influenced medicine for centuries. And then there were the poets and playwrights, like Callimachus, who created the world's first card catalog system. Yes, he organized the scrolls using genres, topics, and even summaries. The library wasn't just Greek, it was a melting pot of cultures. Egyptians, Jews, Persians, Indians, Phoenicians, all contributed their writings and wisdom. Alexandria became the intellectual capital of the world, where science, philosophy, literature, and theology collided in a blaze of brilliance. It was a time when the question wasn't just what do we know, but what more can we discover? Chapter 3, What did it hold? So, what exactly did the Library of Alexandria hold? More than just stories and records, it held the intellectual lifeblood of the ancient world. It wasn't just a library. It was a vault of civilization's memory. Inside its sacred halls rested the works of every known culture, collected, copied, translated. The goal, to preserve and unify all knowledge in a single, eternal archive. Imagine this: tragedies by Sophocles that never made it into our modern anthologies. Epic poems from Mesopotamia, some predating Homer. Medical texts from Egypt detailing surgeries, herbal cures, and mysterious rituals. Indian mathematical manuscripts describing the concept of 0 centuries before it was widely known. Phoenician naval logs, lost technologies, maps of the world showing lands that Europe wouldn't discover for another 1,000 years. And even scientific treatises from China and Persia, transported via ancient trade routes. Some say the library had early blueprints of machines, flying devices, even proto-computational tools, like the Antikythera mechanism later found off the coast of Greece. We may never know exactly what was lost, but scholars believe the contents of the library could have advanced humanity by centuries, had they survived. Ideas that could have sparked the scientific revolution 1,000 years early. Medicines that could have cured plagues. Maps that might have reshaped history itself. And perhaps, just perhaps, answers to mysteries we still chase today. It wasn't just the loss of books. It was the loss of what could have been. Chapter 4, The Mystery of its Destruction. So what happened to this treasure trove of knowledge? That remains one of history's greatest mysteries. There was no singular cataclysm, no one villain to blame. The fall of the Library of Alexandria was not one explosion of violence. It was a slow, agonizing unraveling. In 48 BCE, during the Roman Civil War, Julius Caesar laid siege to Alexandria. In the chaos, his men set fire to the ships in the harbor, a fire that spread uncontrollably into the city. Some ancient sources say it reached the library's outer storage rooms, reducing thousands of scrolls to ash. But the library survived, barely. In the 3rd century CE, during the reign of Emperor Aurelian, more battles ravaged Alexandria. His war to crush Queen Zenobia of Palmyra tore through the city's Bruttian district, where the library likely stood. Again, flames may have consumed what had been rebuilt. In the 4th century, the empire shifted. As Christianity rose, pagan temples became targets. Many believed the daughter library at the Serapeum, once housing part of the collection, was destroyed by zealots, viewing it as a den of heresy. Scrolls were burned, statues shattered. A war not just against religion, but against memory. And finally, in the 7th century, the Muslim conquest under Caliph Omar brought Islam to Egypt. Some accounts, though debated, claim that the last remaining scrolls were burned for fuel. If they agree with the Quran, they are redundant, and if they disagree, they are heresy. Whether true or myth by this point, the library was no more. Its destruction wasn't one event. It was a slow erosion of culture, of curiosity. Each regime, each war, each ideology, stripping away scroll by scroll, until all that remained was silence. Chapter 5, A World Without the Library. What might we have lost when the Library of Alexandria fell? A cure for disease, a forgotten science, a philosophy that might have reshaped how we live. Among those ashes may have been early theories of evolution, maps of the world, and mathematical breakthroughs that predated modern discoveries by centuries. Medical practices from Egypt, India, and Greece, blended and refined, perhaps capable of saving millions. There are whispers of lost works, plays of Euripides that no one remembers, entire books by Aristotle, Homer, and Hypatia that disappeared without a trace. The philosophies of the East, the science of Babylon, the wisdom of Africa, gone. Historians believe that the loss of the library may have delayed human progress by hundreds of years. Some say the Industrial Revolution could have begun in the Middle Ages, or that the Renaissance might have dawned 1,000 years earlier. Imagine a Renaissance not in 1500, but in 500 CE. Air travel in the 1100s. Computers by 1400. A space race in the 1600s. It's not just books we lost. It's possibilities. A version of our world that never got the chance to exist. And that is the true tragedy of the Library of Alexandria. Chapter 6, Legacy and Hope. The flames may have consumed the scrolls, but not the dream. The idea behind the Library of Alexandria, of gathering, protecting, and sharing all human knowledge, didn't die with the building. It simply went dormant, waiting for us to awaken it. In 2002, a new chapter began. Rising like a phoenix from the sands of its past, the Bibliotheca Alexandrina opened in Egypt, an architectural marvel and a tribute to humanity's enduring thirst for knowledge. Its walls hold millions of books, but more importantly, it holds purpose. To inspire, to educate, to connect. Across the globe, from the Library of Congress to digital archives online, humanity is once again racing to preserve its stories, this time in cloud servers and hard drives, not papyrus scrolls. We now digitize what once would have been forgotten. We translate and open access to texts from every culture, every language, every time period. The internet is the modern Library of Alexandria, vast, messy, chaotic, but filled with possibility. Today, every student, every teacher, every curious soul has the power once reserved for ancient scholars. The power to learn, to explore, to pass on wisdom. But with that power comes responsibility. To preserve, to protect, to share. Because if the Library of Alexandria taught us anything, it's this. Once knowledge is lost, it may never return. But when it is guarded, nurtured, and shared, it becomes eternal. We are the custodians now. The next chapter of history is in our hands. So what do you think? Was the Library of Alexandria the greatest loss in human history? What ancient secrets, discoveries, or dreams might have vanished in those flames? Ideas that could have shaped our world differently, forever lost to time. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you believe was buried with the scrolls? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're passionate about epic tales from our shared past, stories of wisdom, wonder, and forgotten worlds, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Join us as we continue our historical journey through time.